Spurs, man. Spurs. I shouldn't laugh. Honestly, I shouldn't laugh. Let me... It just writes itself, doesn't it? It really just writes itself. The signing that seemed all but complete, all but decided. Eberechi Eze to Spurs. Signed, sealed, and just needed to be delivered. And at the 11th hour, Arsenal of all sides have swooped in and ruined the day. This is the craziest window I can remember for a long, long time. This transfer window in the Premier League has been crazy, and this is just the latest twist. First and foremost, if you're wondering what the hell is wrong with my wall, I'm obviously not home. I'm in a hotel right now in Lyon, right next to the Lyon Stadium. I'm about to be interviewing Tyler Morton, new Lyon signing tomorrow for Ligue 1 TV. So make sure you guys check that out. But yeah, man, I'm on my way back from the airport, right? Heading to the hotel, scrolling Twitter as you do, and then out of nowhere, notification. David Ornstein, Bombazo, Arsenal exclusive. They have agreed a fee with Crystal Palace to acquire Eberechi Eze, and they believe Eberechi Eze prefers them to Spurs. Is anyone surprised? I don't really think so. I think Spurs themselves shouldn't be surprised. This was a deal that I almost kind of felt fell into Spurs' hands because for the longest, Eze and Arsenal has just seemed like a formality. I've honestly always thought like if he ends up leaving, it's going to be to Arsenal. It's his former club. That's where he was in the academy. He's a fan, self-proclaimed. They need a player like that. A multitude of reasons. And yet all summer, Arsenal have kind of been playing like hard-nosed with this deal. Like too much money. We have other priorities. Let's get Madueke. Let's get a striker. Let's get depth. I was thinking to myself this entire time, like, what do you mean you have other priorities? Have you seen this team in terms of creating chances from open play? Have you seen how good Eze is? Have you seen what he's done this past season? It never transpired. And if you believe the reports, Arsenal decided that the 60 plus million pounds that Crystal Palace were demanding for Eze was a little out of their price range. In came Spurs. And to be fair to Spurs, I understood the signing as well too. We're talking about technical maverick players. That is a bit of Spurs right there, whether it's Gascoigne, whether it's Van der Vaart, whether it's Luka Modric, whether it's James Maddison of late. You know, they have a history of this kind of player. And also, James Maddison's out for the season or damn near. They need attacking depth, they need attacking quality, and Eze is attacking quality. Seriously, this guy is one of, if not, you could probably make the argument, the best player playing outside of the top six. He is in that upper echelon of non-top six ballers. And what he did last year for Crystal Palace, putting himself in the history books of that football club, winning them the FA Cup with his goal. I mean, he's never going to be forgotten at that club, but it just feels like he's ready to take the next step. And it seemed like the next step was going to be the Spurs. And again, this deal seemed all but complete. Spurs came in with their deal. It was, okay, Eze agreed to join Spurs. He agreed with the terms, even though in his heart he would rather join Arsenal, but Arsenal's not an option, so he'd rather go to Spurs than stay at Crystal Palace. Fairs. But with Spurs and Palace, it just felt like, in terms of transfer fee, Spurs were just like margins away from agreeing a deal. Like, they weren't a million miles off their evaluation of Eze, but it just wasn't enough. To the point that today, Spurs were trying to include Richarlison, who just scored 2 goals at the weekend, by the way. They were trying to include him in a deal just to get this over the line. Palace have stalled. Palace have deemed that not good enough. And in the meantime, Eze played the first game in the Premier League. He was currently training today, and I think he's going to play tomorrow in the European qualifier. So Palace and Eze have not really been in any rush to kind of get this over the line. Eze respects Palace. Palace respect Eze as well, too. And it's kind of a case of whenever this gets done, this gets done. But in that process, Spurs inevitably let Arsenal back into the race. Because, and this is baffling, right? Because everyone knew if Arsenal comes in and agrees terms with Palace, if it's between Arsenal and Spurs, this is a layup. This is a layup for Arsenal. We know Eze wants to join them. And now it's official. I mean, damn near official. We're just waiting for the here we go. It's crazy. Now, what prompted this out of nowhere for Arsenal to come in for Eze again? If reports are to be believed, Kai Havertz's knee injury that was reported today pushed Arsenal and Mikel Arteta back into the market. Arteta went to the board, urged them to go get him another forward, and Eze has been chosen as that target. Now, personally, I think this should have been a move made regardless of Havertz's injury. Now, if this is because Havertz got injured, I never want to say like, oh, it's a good thing he got injured. Of course not. They need Havertz every game this season. But hey, you'd rather have Eze than not. So the fact that they've gotten him now is a huge statement. I'm going to talk about all three of these parties, right? Eze, Spurs, and Arsenal. I talked about Palace and their situation a video or two ago. Go check that out if you want to kind of get my thoughts on how I think Palace can survive without Eze. But let's focus on those three, right? First and foremost, let's talk about Eze. I'm a huge fan of this guy. He is one of my favorite players in the league. And not even just in terms of like his play style or whatever, which I love, but even his personality as well too. Eze seems like such a laid back character. He seems like such a nice guy. He seems so cool, so nonchalant at times. He has that like, what do they call it? He's got the Bov trait, right? Like he really just kind of plays the game at his own pace. He does things at his own pace, and he does it with such a swagger to him that makes him so admirable for most football fans, right? And what he did with Palace this last season was flat out ridiculous, and I think made him most people's like, he's a fan favorite. I think a lot of people have a soft spot for Eze. And I think with Eze as well too, it's very clear to me that this is a guy ready for the next step, right? No disrespect to Palace, no disrespect to the Conference League, but this is a Champions League level player. This is a player that should be playing in the best competitions, competing for the biggest trophies, playing in the biggest games of the season. He's a player of that caliber. And for it to be Arsenal, I think it's really, really nice, right? I don't really like the term homecoming because it's not like he left on his own terms and then he's coming back and it's like, oh, welcome back. He wasn't deemed good enough by Arsenal the first time around. It's almost like, for me, a redemption. That's really what it is for me. It's him coming back and saying, this is the club of my heart. I wanted to come here. This is the club I support. But also, don't take it like, oh, we missed you, son. Welcome back home. It's no. Oh, I wasn't good enough 10, 15 years ago. Here's what I've done in the process, and you guys are going to wish you never let me go in the first place. Like, I'm here now. I'm here to take this team to bigger and better things. And I'm really excited to see him do that. I genuinely think this move makes a lot of sense. Like, let's go into the Arsenal side of things now, right? I said it after the United game. If Arsenal don't sign Eze and or Rodrigo, I do not see this team winning the league. And I said it for a reason. This team in open play is just too blunt. There isn't enough creative spark. There isn't enough ingenuity. There isn't enough X factor. That's the word I'm sure Arsenal fans are sick and tired of hearing me say. I think in the Champions League, they got there on merit, first of all. They demolished Real Madrid, but I think in the final moments, again, they were missing someone that could just kind of pick up the ball and make something happen. They have players like that, but not enough in my opinion. And with this side, I feel like Arteta's built a really good team, but one that kind of relies on the system to build chances, the system to win you games. You fit into the system. Where is the room for players to kind of get on the ball, and if the system isn't really working at its best, like for example how it wasn't against United, they can make something happen. They can turn the game on its head. They can create a chance out of nothing. I think Saka has that ability. I definitely think Saka is of that ilk. Odegaard for a while I thought was that kind of player, but last season, I'm not gonna lie, I think he's still a good player. But in terms of creating moments, in terms of winning you games individually, I think he's more of a connector rather than a game changer. And then Rice, Saliba, Gabriel, they're all great players. They're world-class players for me, but they're not attacking match winners. They're not mavericks. They're not game changers like that. Like, Rice will score you free kicks. I get that. But you understand what I'm trying to say. Players you can get the ball to, in one moment they can unlock a defense. In one moment they can beat a man and create a chance. In one moment they can beat a man and score a goal. That's the kind of ability that they have. Eze is of that quality. I thought Rodrigo was of that quality. I thought Kvaratskhelia was of that quality. Leao, Ademola Lookman, I think would have been a terrific signing for Arsenal as well too. But Eze is most definitely that kind of player. When I think of Mavericks, what do they call it? El Mago. That's what they say in Spanish. The magicians, the Mavericks, the guys that kind of have the magic hat on their head and you give them the ball and they create moments. They make you dream. They make you want to go out on the playground and try things. Eze is that player. And it's a player that Arsenal are desperately crying out for. And more so than just that, he does it largely off the left-hand side. Now, he's not an out-and-out left winger. No doubt about it, he's not. But he does his best work in the final third off the left-hand side. And newsflash, if you've watched Arsenal at all for the last 2-3 seasons, there's nothing that goes on out there. It's a barren wasteland out there. Seriously, it's a desert. The only thing you see out there is like a can of Coke just rolling around. It's barren. Martinelli, Trossard. I mean, they signed Madueke. I'm less than convinced about that signing out on the left. But Eze. Now, I don't know if he's going to play completely off the left wing and just have license to drift in. I think to do that, you're going to need to have a fullback on his side that kind of gives him that option because they hold width. And Lewis Skelly, for example, is one of my favorite players in the world, but he's a player that likes to play inside. Calafiori can do that, but also, again, loves making those inside runs as well. Do Arsenal have like a natural wide fullback? You know what I mean? Like Ben White, for example. He's a player that is overlapping like crazy. They need something like that off the left. But even if they don't, they have someone in Eze now that if things aren't working out on the right, and it's bound to happen sometimes, Saka is not Lionel Messi. Odegaard has very clearly shown he has limitations. I feel like they finally have an option now off the left. It just feels like a more balanced team because now you have somebody on the left that can cause teams options. The last 6 to 12 to 24 months has just been oppositions looking at the right and saying, okay, Saka. You know he's going to Saka. You know he's going to try something. It either works or doesn't. But that's the game plan. Now you got a baller like that on the left as well too. This changes everything for Arsenal. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I'm not saying it to gas up Arsenal fans. A few days ago, I was saying I don't see this team winning the league. But this kind of signing changes everything for me. I'm not going to discredit Chelsea, no doubt about it. But if we're being honest, right, the three big title challengers, and Chelsea are maybe the little horse, but the three big ones, out of all three of them, Arsenal are the most compact. Arsenal are the best defensively. Arsenal are the strongest in holding their shape. But going forward, opening teams up, creating chances, winning games, I think I trust City and Liverpool before today a little more than Arsenal. Maybe not even a little more, maybe a lot more if I'm being honest, right? But this kind of signing, I cannot downplay how vital it is. I think it changes everything. I look at Arsenal in a completely different light after this kind of signing. And let's see if they're done. Because if they can still bring in one more kind of player, this was supposed to be, right? Okay, Havertz is going to miss a bit of time. This is somebody to ease the pain of that. If you can bring in one more. I'm seeing reports that Martinelli, there's interest from Saudi. Ladies and gentlemen, Arsenal fans, I know you're not going to want to hear this. That's your boy. It's over. Khalas. Get that guy out of there. The story is over with Martinelli. He is not going to end up being what a lot of you guys thought. 15 open play goals, you can sing it till the cows come home. He's limited. You can go finesse a team in Saudi for 60, 70 million pounds for that guy in any kind of world and then reinvest that money into a much better player. Rodrigo. I'm just saying. That's just a name I'm throwing out there. Arsenal now look incredibly dangerous. And I'm not trying to say they didn't look dangerous before. They were going to be in the race. But now I look at it completely different. I look at this race now completely different, and I find it incredibly difficult to separate any of these three teams. I was pretty sure Arsenal weren't going to win the league before today. Now, things have changed, man. Things have changed. But finally, a word on Spurs. I mean, there's a lot of words you can use to describe the situation, right? Disappointing, embarrassing, disgrace, egg on your face. But I think in moments like this, there's only one word that truly encapsulates what this club is all about in high leverage moments. Spursy. Now, I know I'm not I'm not the right messenger to be saying this, right? Because my football team, I witnessed them in the flesh give Spurs their greatest moment in 20 years. I get that. But damn, how bad must Man United be to give Spurs that moment, right? But my goodness, how have Spurs fumbled this? How? And to Arsenal of all football teams, I think it's amateur. It's absolute amateur hour, man. This was a layup. This was in your hands. You could not mess this up. And yet you found a way to do it. This is, if we're being honest, right? It's cheap from Spurs. It is. Because this was a signing that was well within their reach. I don't think they're in PSR issues. They've made a few signings this window, but they haven't blown the bank. We know they have money to play with. And it's a top player that you know other clubs want, but you have a layup to him. You have a free lane to go get this guy. And you tried stalling this much. You tried being cute with it this much. Throwing Richarlison into the deal. Just get the deal over the line. Just get the deal over the line. This is the most Spursy thing possible. And in moments like this, I feel for the fan base. I was joking with Fuad earlier, saying, Eze, maybe Savinho. They're talking about Akliouche. Kudus looks amazing. Thomas Frank. Wow, Spurs this season. Bro, maybe they're too harsh on Daniel Levy. And then you see shit like this, man. You see shit like this. It is absolutely mind-boggling. That's the only way I can really put it. It boggles the mind how Spurs have fumbled this kind of situation. And to make it even worse, to rub salt in the wound, you're bleeding. Your forearm is ripped. Blood pouring out. Maybe this is too graphic for YouTube, right? And then just like that, Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta come in, put some salt on it, rub it in, and now you're just in agony. That's what they've just effectively done here. Not only have you lost your girl, or the girl you were courting, but your bully from high school just went and walked away with her on his arm. That's effectively what's happened here. I mean, look, it's not the end of the world for Spurs, right? There's other players that can get. Right? Eze's an amazing player, but there's other players you can get. But it's more the principle. It's more the optics. It's more how this looks rather than what it means. And it doesn't look good. It does not look good, and it almost gives you the feeling that, look, Spurs have made progress this summer. They've hired an incredible coach in my eyes. They've signed a brilliant player in Kudus. The team looks better. I think they're going to have a good season. But it just kind of pushes the narrative again that every manager that comes into this job is destined to fail before he even really starts. Yes, Frank is getting back to some extent, but you can't say he's fully being back. Not when moments like this happen. He must be furious. This deal should have happened before the Super Cup. This should have happened 2 weeks ago, let alone this week. And in a swoop, Arsenal have got it done in one day. That's ambition. I have to commend Arsenal. I question why it took them this long. I do. But you know what? We'll give them the benefit of the doubt because they eventually got it done. I do wonder, could they have not signed him a week ago? But that's ambition. That is ambition. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the title race gets that much more fascinating. I cannot wait. I'm salivating out here, man. But yo, gotta get a good night's sleep. I'm up early tomorrow for the interview. Keep an eye out for more stuff on the channel. I'm gonna be on Saturday Social as well, too, on Sky Sports Saturday morning. Check me out on there, me and James Alcott. And yeah, man, like, share, subscribe. The road to 80K continues. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.